Today we're going to be drinking juice boxes like children.
Your turn.
No, we're going to be doing a tier list for a show that we just got done watching, sadly, a few weeks ago. Preacher.
It was pretty sad, which says a lot for somebody who doesn't like to sit down and watch TV.
Yeah, she enjoyed it. We did a tier list for another show we watched, Breaking Bad, all the characters. So I figured in the same vein of that, another show that we watched, Preacher, together, we'll just do a tier list for it. It's tough whenever you do tier lists together because, you know, our opinions might be different, but we try to come together and kind of compromise, right?
So basically, yeah, in our minds, we do like an average throughout the whole show individually. So you have your average and I have my average, and then we take our averages and make an average.
Yep. Try to come together, exactly. So let's see. Some of these characters, I was just trying to tell her, are not like, I guess, all that impressionable. So I guess that would be kind of the meh part. And this was just a pre-made list. You know, I wasn't going to take the time and make my own, but of course it's left out some characters. There's a lot of characters that just are in one, of course. And yeah, I'm sure this list is missing some, but we'll just roll with what it gives us. And we'll just start from the top row here. So let's see. This was Genesis's dad. Yeah, the angel that was with Cassidy. For him, he's kind of, I guess, not really all that memorable to me. The actor, I guess, played him pretty good and had some lines. I really like the part with this guy whenever they do the voiceover with him. What's he say? He's quoting the movie for Cassidy. He's like, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. In my mind, you're a winner, you know, when he's giving Cassidy his pep talk. But
I liked him, but like you said, he wasn't very memorable. So I'm just thinking, just right in the middle.
It's cool that they showed both of the parents, you know, because it was kind of brief in the comics. So I'm glad they did that for the show. But yeah, then we got Hoover. He just was the butt of the joke in the show, much like the comic.
I liked Hoover.
Yeah, he's like got a likable personality. I forget, he went to some other show is why they killed him, but they just did it so nonchalant and funny. He wasn't in there as much.
I think we're gonna agree on a lot of these.
Yeah, I would have liked to see his comic story adapted, where he's kind of counting the sand. It's pretty funny and iconic. But
maybe we should clarify the way that you rate and the way that I rate.
Right.
I rate based on just personality likeness and how they are with other people. I'm sure you're probably rating as to how their story reflected in the show.
Comics, yeah.
And in the comics and stuff. His is a little bit more deeper, but they're still probably going to be pretty similar, I think.
I'm going to try not to make this like a review of the show, you know, just basing the characters where they're at, but I do have a review for the show. But yeah, briefly overall, I think they did a good job of adapting the comic. Now, this character wasn't in the comic. This is Death, I believe. What was her character?
The Angel of Death,
Angel of Death, yeah. I guess she's pretty intimidating, but just very brief. I'm just gonna say meh for her, right? I mean, yeah, there's some funny stuff between her and Tulip. I like their interactions, but
nothing crazy.
Yeah, and then we got Jesus.
I don't know how I feel about Jesus. Like, I feel like I fell on the spectrum of everyone else in the show where they just didn't like him, but not for any particular reason. Right. Like, he didn't do anything bad, but that's why they didn't like him. He's just boring.
I like that, though. It's funny, you know. I like whenever he goes off on with Tulip for the adventure, and he's, like, trying to be bad and, you know, telling everybody, put your hands up or there will be brains on the wall, you know.
I really liked him. I think he would probably be in between S and pretty good for storyline.
Oh, really?
But I don't think that he would, like, I think he's better than pretty good when I forgot about the stuff that you were saying, but he's definitely not S tier.
Yeah,
but I think our pretty good has just, because there's only one, it's either great or good, like, I feel like there should be one more, like, better than good, but not perfect.
Right. Yeah.
And he would be there.
Yeah. This list, like I said, was pre-set up. I mean, I could actually just go in and I think change it, but we'll just roll with what we got so far. So yeah, I'll compromise. I'll say Jesus is pretty good. I would have even went down to a meh, but maybe that's just because again, with the comic influence for me, Jesus, to my memory, wasn't even a part of the comic. But I do like the kind of satire way that they handle him, just like they handle a lot of everything else, where he's just, not that important.
S.
Yes, absolutely.
S tier.
Absolutely.
Oh.
I'm glad she came around. I was telling her, like, he's a fan favorite, and she didn't really get it, but...
I was literally like, how? He doesn't say anything. Like, how much are we going to see of him?
Yeah.
If it's... Well, we'll talk about who's my favorite when we get to it. But,
yeah, but
I
see his whole story wrap up with Cassidy and Tulip, and it's great. And Cassidy just describes it really well at one point, and I was like, yeah, that's not even... A lot of times in shows, they'll tell you, like, things, but
their thought process behind why they're thinking what they're thinking.
Yeah, but you don't actually feel that way. But whenever Cassidy describes it, he's like, yeah, he liked everybody. Whenever you were around him, you felt like a better person just from knowing him. And it was like, yeah, I do. He does make me feel, the way that they feel about him. So that was just a great character. God, I love that kid. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that as a line that we like to quote from.
I don't even know who
God.
that lady is, or man.
That is Cassidy's son.
Dennis.
That's Dennis.
I'm trying to put myself in your shoes here and decide. I'm not really a huge fan of the good categories, because I think he would be in one of the good ones, but I just don't know which. Mm-hmm. Only because I'm putting myself in your shoes. If we're talking about straight personality, like how much I liked seeing him on the screen, I'd probably just say meh. I would probably maybe trash. Nah, probably just meh.
I would say meh too.
But I like the way that he advanced Cassidy's storyline, like seeing more about Cassidy.
That's an interesting perspective to see somebody like young or look young but have their son dying and sick in front of them.
Right.
And I do like I forget if Dennis was actually his son in the comic. I think he was just like an old buddy Cassidy visits. And so I would say they did Dennis better in that case in the show. And I also like the running gag where they can't understand each other, because he's French. Yeah, so it's kind of makes for some fun
this would be one of those things where I wish there was a category in between men pretty good, like an average. Like, they're just okay.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but I feel like men is that.
Okay,
But I liked seeing more about Cassidy and seeing his dilemma and all that, so he carries into the Cassidy field, so that's why he would probably be like
he's a shit guy, but I do like what they did with him. Even so, some characters like that, they're shitty but you like them too, for reasons. Absolutely S tier for Harry Starr. It just goes to show they loved the actor, played him so well, and it leapt right off of the comic page for me. Just so funny, so unique, and just such a strong personality. Absolutely loved everything about Harry Starr. It goes to show too, because he dies in the books, I'm pretty sure, and they couldn't bear to kill him in the show. They actually give him a happy ending, and as much as he's the villain of the books, in the show he's the villain too, but you can't help but like the guy, maybe even more than Jesse in a lot of parts.
Oh yeah, Harry Starr was his personality is just, while being so monotone and goal driven, he's still so much in his personality. There's so much to him, and
so much to like about him.
You had hyped him up so much. I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, what are you talking about? But then we met him in those whatever that scene was where he was trying out for the Grail or whatever. Yeah, that shit that sold me immediately, and then everything he did after that was it just got better and better.
He's got that weird side to him where he's kind of a sexual deviant, and he ends up looking so just deformed. But that's one of the cases where it's you would think it'd make you mad that they didn't do him the same comic ending, but they just couldn't help it, because he was just so likable. They had to give him a happy ending,
That actor, it was 100% the actor, dude. There's no way anybody else would have pulled that off.
Love Harry Starr. Maybe even my favorite character from the show, to be honest. Eugene, I think we'll both agree that we could put him in trash, Trash.
Okay. What I was gonna say,
man or trash.
What I was gonna say was he is unbearable. I can't fucking stand him.
I could see that too.
I cannot stand him. I know that he was different in the comics because you've told me a million bajillion times, but I told him I don't like his storyline with Jesse. Like, we keep seeing all of his fucking shit with ass face happening. I know it's arse face. I don't have an accent, so I'm saying ass face. Eugene, whatever. But we see all his fucking life and, like, him in hell and getting out and going back and blah, 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 blah. All for it to come down to one sentence with Jesse. Like, I wanted more. Like,
It was... I think that they had something different with him, but he was a victim of the show getting cut a few seasons shorter than what they expected. So I think they had to wrap his story up a little bit quicker, and maybe that's why some of it fell short. But he, in the books, is pretty much just a running gag for the most part. I mean, kind of silly. But here, he's more of a conduit, really, I think, to carry a lot of these character stories, like Hitler, the Saint, you know, and what's going on here. That's really why they did what they did with him. So, but yeah, his story kind of ended just unsatisfying, and but you know, they tried to tie it back into the books a little bit, but yeah, him on his own. Not that the guy's really all that annoying. It's just, you do feel like you spend a lot of time with him for nothing, you know, when everybody around him is more integral to the story than he is.
And just interesting in general.
Yeah. Saint is an S tier for me. Yeah, they did him so well with the theme, with making him feel super intimidating. They really set up a lot of his backstory, maybe too much in season 1 of that, but yeah, he's great. And then the way he comes around to... He kills the devil and God both. Like, that's crazy.
He's such a fucking badass. That's all it is. He's a badass, and he's 100% a badass. Everything he does, he's super goal driven. Like, when he wants, he's gonna do it. Like, where they even showed the scene of Eugene saying, like, "Can we not walk? Like, my feet hurt. Can we get a car or something?" This man is just he's literally walking to his destination, which could be like the other side of the world. He's a fucking badass.
Well, at one point, shoots through the earth and jumps through it to get to Australia.
He's a fucking badass.
Yeah. So I love him. It leaps off the pages. They did him so well, making him intimidating, and yeah, love him. This guy, what is this guy's name? TC. I think he was pretty good. I'm going to say, I feel like that's a little high. We can put him in man. But I'm going to say pretty good just because that's a tough thing. They cast him really well is what I'm trying to say, because in the books he was supposed to be kind of the one where you kind of like, you know, he's not so bad. He's just kind of a victim of the people that he's around. And
oh yeah, no, I totally got that vibe watching the show too.
And I think they cast the actor perfectly for somebody who gives off those vibes, kind of a little slow and stupid, you know. So yeah, I that's why I would say he's pretty good, just because they cast him so well.
I don't know how I feel about this next one. I don't have an opinion
on God.
I don't have an opinion on God. He wasn't anything crazy cool or crazy lame, and
So
I
you'd
don't
say
know.
meh?
Yeah, like I just don't have an opinion. I don't know why.
I would say pretty good, just because again, I like the way Preacher overall handles like the look of religion and the way that God is, the way it really sounds whenever you back up and look at the Bible. I'm not saying I don't, you know, believe in that stuff or anything, but I'm just saying it's like the way he demands like Jesse's love, and that's all he wants is, you know, why don't you love me? You know, why can't you love me? And also the way he's kind of nonchalant about stuff, like the way I like how Harry Starr's like taking, you know, religion by the books, and he's just kind of like, you know, whatever, you know, Humperdue's, you know, a cool dancer, you know, God, I love that kid, you know, his line. So, you know, he's riding around on a motorcycle with a chick, just exploring, you know. So I'd say he's pretty good, and I think they kept that actor too. I don't think that they wanted to have that actor play God initially. I think he was supposed to play like a decoy, but they just liked the job that he did so much that they kept him around. So yeah, this one's controversial, I'm sure, because
I would just put him in an S.
You'd put Jesse in S?
I don't think he's pretty good. I think he's better than pretty good.
Jesse?
Yeah.
Ooh, I was going to level, and I was going to say, can you level and say pretty good for me?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he's quite an S, but he's better than pretty good. I mean, the whole fucking show is built around him. I do think that he was a little selfish in his relationships with Tulip and Cassidy, and I felt bad for them, even though they had also done their own shitty things. It's just, a different kind of emotional hurt rather than physical hurt. Like, he was just hurting their feelings over and over and over again, like leaving them out, lying to them, like just all kinds of different things. But I still liked his character, and I am, most of that opinion comes from him telling Genesis to get out of him and punching God in the face.
Yeah, that was badass. So she pointed this out to me at one point. She was like, man, this actor Jesse's actor, Dominic Cooper, does such a good job in action scenes, like really playing it up. You can tell.
Like making the stupid faces that you would when you're getting choked out against a wall, or you've got your fucking boot on someone's neck. Like, he literally looks like he's struggling, and like, it's not like a picture perfect scene where they look cool and it's so procedural. It's...
Yeah, and
I like it.
Apart from the combat, the actor's British too, and he just plays the role. I think he was cast well. Mm-hmm. I think that. I've heard people say that they don't think so. If you look at the books, maybe not exactly, but this is more of a modern take, because you got to remember the books are a little bit dated, early 90s.
They can have the best of both worlds, us talking about it, because you know the comics and I don't know the comics.
Right. So I think Jesse's a little bit this is a good modern take for him, and I think the actor does a good job. But the problem comes into the writing. Like she said, comes across selfish at a lot of points. But the thing about that is, he comes across in a selfish way. Like, I get why you're being this way, and I got respect for it. But at the same time, you're still being an asshole. So It's kind of like that. It's not like you're just a selfish prick, fuck you. It's like, I get it, but dude, come on.
It's just like there was a boundary, there was a line, and he just always managed to just fucking cross it.
Yeah. So I'd say he's pretty good, if not, like she said, kind of in between. This chick, I have no fucking idea why she's on here.
Who the hell is that?
This was a girl from Icarius's people, a vampire that Cassidy was with at the place. Like,
Unbearable Bastard.
Yeah.
Just by default.
I'm just gonna leave her.
Okay.
Featherstone.
Pretty good. I liked her. I liked her character.
Okay, I can say that too. Yeah, pretty good. She, because you feel bad for her at the end, whenever she finally gets fed up with Hairstar, and her rivalry with Tulip was really good too. So
I enjoyed that, especially when they were friends first, like watching them be, because Tulip's around men all the time, so watching Tulip interact with another woman and watching them do women things, like, that was cool to see.
Yeah.
And then Tulip be really fucking pissed off that she was, spying on them and was lying about who she was and all this shit.
Right. And again, really cast well. All of them are mostly cast well. Jody, I'm going to say he's pretty good too. Just like TC, he's cast pretty well. I would have liked to see him be a little bit more brutal, a little bit more of a hated character, because I remember him being more so in the books. And in this, I think you level with him a little bit, or you...
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion. I would have put him in meh, but he's got the book and the storyline, so I get it.
I'm glad that they made sure they gave him kind of the magic, like the voodoo super strong like magic aspect to his character too, but I just would have liked to hate him a little bit more.
Well,
but he was cast
I'm gonna pause you there. If you wouldn't have told me that he had like super strength, I wouldn't have known. I mean, yeah, he was beating people's asses, but he was also getting his ass beat. And I know he was withstanding it like without a problem, but still, if you wouldn't have told me just watching that, and they never said it either, I wouldn't have thought that he was supernaturally like strong. Yeah. So if that was their intention, they didn't do that very well.
But he's super big. But with that, I don't think that they outright say that he's like got some type of voodoo magic in the books, though. Even there, I could be wrong. But he's super big, super intimidating. So yeah, I would say mostly cast well with that, and they handled the Angelville thing pretty well. They had their last final fight and all that. So.
And the tombs.
And Grandma, again, she's kind of like that. The book storyline was done. So the Grandma storyline was done so good in the books. I'm just gonna say it's not saying it was done bad in the show. It was just it was good, but and I can tell they tried a lot with everything and to do some fan service. So that's how I feel about Grandma. I think she was about like him. I just would have liked to hate her, feel creeped out by her a little bit more. A lot of that was the whole structure of the season too. Of season 3 was not just like the books where okay, you got just this going on. There was a lot of other stuff that they integrated in there to space it out more too. So
I'd say she's pretty good. I liked her character, and I liked the supernatural aspect of the voodoo, and you know, having the rag that tied her to Jesse or whatever. Like being able to do things that it's not like, oh, the threat wasn't her in general. It wasn't like, yeah, I'll just kill her and then we're done. There were so many obstacles because of her voodoo abilities or whatever. So I thought it was cool. And I enjoyed the pace in season 3 a little bit more because season 1 and 2 was a little bit rougher for me, but when we got to 3, I was like, can we watch Preacher? So
I told you it was going to pick up more and more. But yeah, so that's pretty much the same I feel about all these. They were done pretty good for the show. They were done well. And then we get the Angel Fior.
I liked the Angel Fior.
Yeah, that's why they kept him around longer than DeBlanc over here. I believe this was Fior and this was DeBlanc. But yeah, I guess he was pretty good. I like seeing him with Cassidy and them doing drugs together.
Oh my gosh, doing all kinds of drugs together and overdosing, and God.
And they bring him back later too. Here, I guess we'll go ahead and do DeBlanc. I'm just gonna say man for DeBlanc.
Yeah,
that's why he was.
Didn't see him much, but he was all right when we did.
Yeah, I guess I like their relationship and their dynamic, but yeah, okay. And Icarius.
Oh,
I'm
unbearable bastard. I can't fucking stand everything about him.
Icarius, yeah.
That's solely on personality. I can't stand him. I fucking hate him.
Yeah. But it was interesting seeing more of the vampire lore that you can be. Not that they really did anything with it, but still interesting to see.
That you can do more than just what Cassidy was doing.
Tulip's S tier, I think. Yeah, she's great because female characters like these days are just overly whatever. They're not real like in-depth characters. They're just super strong female characters because that's what you're supposed to do. But you know, you see Tulip have different layers of emotions and stuff. And again, the actress, she's like Irish or something actually. So for her to be able to do that accent is really impressive.
I like Tulip a lot. And I told him this like 3 times while we were watching him. Like, I love Tulip. I love seeing her be a badass woman on her own. But I don't like her relationship with Jesse. He walks all over her. She acts like she doesn't give a fuck, and then she does give a fuck, and then they make up, and then it's just cycle again. And I don't like her relationship with Cassidy because Cassidy's in love with her, and she... How many times did they plan to, like, we'll just go, like, fuck Jesse, like, we'll just go, you and me, and we'll just go sit by the beach, and then she, like, leaves them hanging high and dry the moment that Jesse walks around for 1 second, like... She was so bad in those relationships. But on her own, I really like Tulip. I love seeing her story play out. I love the scene where she died and was in her little purgatory in between whatever. I liked seeing all that.
Yeah, fleshed out really well. She was great. Super, well done. And then Satan, I'm just going to say meh, because, I mean...
I would just say trash.
I could even put him there too with you because the thing about him is he's Satan, but I don't really feel like we ever saw him do anything other than tell people what to do and
like a desk job.
Yeah,
he just didn't ever look scary to me. Like,
no,
which I know that he's not supposed to look like terrifying, but I would just laugh every time I saw him. Like, it was not scary at all.
Yeah, but I'm glad again they went to the trouble to make him, because we're talking about adapting a comic book, which is super tough and most of the time fails. So the fact that they did all of this good, you know, well is a big accomplishment to even put something like this on the screen and it not just be ridiculous. But yeah, he didn't really do much. I mean, so other than just be Satan and then not that he did much in the books, but other than get killed by the Saint. And then best for last, if we could go above, then we would.
Where the fuck did it put him?
Pretty trash. Yeah, absolutely. Cassidy's such a likable character. As she said, put it best, he's the inhuman character, but he's the most human in terms, of his emotions. And yeah, that's just the best way to put it.
It's true. He was the most rational thinking, the most logistic, emotional, the most human person out of everyone, and he's one of the most non-human.
And
so
you feel bad for him at lots of points
in
between
so many
Jesse
different
and
ways.
Tulip. Yeah, you feel bad for him being put in that position. So, what I've always said, I'll say it again, but yeah, I just wish I could have seen him and Jesse bond more, and that was more on Jesse's part than Cassidy, because that was one of their last scenes together, I think, though, when he's like, you're my best friend, and they just kind of have a nice moment there where, but yeah, Cassidy's S tier for me too, above S tier.
I
The
love
best
him.
character on the show.
He's
Super
funny
likable.
when he needs to be, and he's hilarious. He's serious when he needs to be. He's all around like a good person. Like he had good morals, and
Exactly.
it was just so fucking funny watching him get high in all these crazy ass ways, like drinking
Yes.
AC fluid. And
Yes, that's a great way to put all of that. Absolutely. Yeah, you summed that up great. So that's our list. We're watching Weeds right now, so that may be the next tier list that we do, if they even have a tier list for Weeds. It's such a kind of old show. You can't really find much about it online. Let's see.
this is just weed in general, babe.
Oh, whoops. The S is very important, isn't it? Yeah,
There you
it
go.
is. So yeah, we'll probably do that one next, and then I'm really gonna try to get her to watch Sons of Anarchy after that, and then we'll see about doing that. So yeah, let us know what you thought about our list. And
Recommend some shows if you want.
I've probably seen.
Probably you've watched everything.
I've watched a lot. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one.